Welcome to Anita Talks History and Genealogy. Glad you all could join me for this short video. Before I begin, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. Also, don't forget to share within your, within your social media groups. Keep spreading the message. We're growing day by day. Also, if you have any comments or questions, feel free to, put in your comments or questions, and we'll see what we can do. And also, if you can, please help keep my station going by donating at Cash App Wills WILS 920, Venmo Anita Wills 4, or you can contact me personally if you want to give another way. And we have some exciting gifts coming up. I'm so pleased that the channel is growing. It's growing slowly, but the quality is more important than just having any old people jumping in. I like the interaction and the intimacy of the people that are coming on, and also the knowledge that people have, because I'm a historian, I'm a writer, I'm an author, genealogy researcher, and also a speaker. I love to talk and share, because that's the way that I learned about the history of my family. So when I'm talking on these, on this channel, Anita Talks History and Genealogy, at We Know Better 622, it's my opinion. Let me give you a disclaimer. Everything here is from the research and documentation that I have done, and I do quote it to the best of my knowledge. And if something changes, then I usually try to come back and correct, because there's so much information, volumes and volumes of information that I took from in order to write my books, my 7 books, all of which are available on Amazon.com. If you want a signed book, then you can, go to my email, which I'm going to put on, that I'm going to put on my channel. So you can go to that email and contact me. But anybody that gives or donates more than $50, and you contact me, and I will send you a signed copy of the book of your choice. But I'm hoping that you will pick from the 3 books that are mostly about genealogy, which are Notes and Documents of Free Person of Color, the revised edition, and also the second book is Along the Rappahannock, a homeland of the Nazatical Indian Nation, and also Minkwa, Anami, Okioki, and the Downriver Nations. But any of the books that you choose, I would be glad to sign, and send you a copy, especially those who donate more than $50 to this channel, which keeps us up and running. But today I want to talk quickly about great-great-grandmother Leah Warner. Her name was great-great-grandmother Leah Ruth Warner, who was 12 years old when she was kidnapped from Guinea, West Africa. along with her, the other children in her tribe. Leah was Muslim. Her father, according to her, was an imam, and that she said that they were at the river panning for gold when the slavers came and took the children 5 miles down the road to a Dutch ship and put them on that ship. And the year, I believe, was 1830. And sometime in 1817 or 1807, 1807 and 1808, there was an abolishment of slave trade by Denmark, Britain, and the United States. In other words, it was illegal to sell slaves from Africa in the United States. Leah and her children from her village were taken to Bermuda, where they were seasoned, and eventually she was sold to Robert Ruth in Beaufort County, South Carolina. So she was born 1818. She was 12 in 1830 when they took her. And the place they took her from was Guinea, West Africa, and they lived around the Rio Pongo, a river, Rio meaning river, and I believe that's the river that they took her down. Her and her, the children from the tribe, and they probably killed the adults, the slavers. That's something that they don't talk about, how the slavers will go up. And I believe that they were up there not necessarily looking for slaves, but looking for gold, because Leah said her and the other children were panning for gold at the river, Rio Pongo. They were panning for gold. And they were taken 12 miles downriver and put on that ship. And the other, when I was talking about her before, I was really more or less talking about her life in Pennsylvania. Her life in on Hilton Head Island, South Carolina, and on Robert Ruth's plantation. Robert Ruth, the white man who bought her at Charleston on the auction block. He probably bought other slaves too. There was like 4 or 5 slaves on his plantation, and they were all women, and they all had children. So I'm thinking that Robert Ruth was running a breeding farm. And I believe that because great-grandmother Ruth, when she was telling her story, she said, they sold all of my black children. But my great-grandfather, who was her son, he was the son of the white man who owned her. She had 4 children by him. And she did not like him. And I think she was fighting him because he wound up selling her to Hilton Head, South Carolina. And he sold the children to Savannah, Georgia. So they were house slaves. However you want to, Savannah was, somewhat of a city. And this was around 1857, I believe, because great-grandfather Ruth, he was saying that he was born in 1850, in July of 1850, and so he was about 7 years old when they were sold away to Savannah. And so that's what was going on. So Leah was sold to Hilton Head and she became a part of the Gullah Geechie community. So what previously I said she was Malinke, but these are Mandingo or Mandinka people. Leah, who was, when I say Malinke, they came from Mali. The tribe goes back to Mali, and they came into Guinea, West Africa, with Sondiata Keita. Remember, if anybody knows, that he was the Lion King. He was the leader of the tribe. He was the one bringing them into new land, looking for new land. So Sondiata Keita, and these are also these people from Mali are also a part of the Musa people. They're all one people, the Mandinka, and they went into Guinea. Were led into Guinea by Sondiata Keita, probably in the 1300s or so. So they were there. It wasn't called Guinea at the time, It was mostly just, a forest, probably a beautiful land, because that's the way Sondiata is describing it when he's talking about, there's writings about him and how he was a great warrior, even though he was born crippled, and people would make fun of him. But he wound up being this warrior, even with all of his, with all of the problems he had being born crippled. And so they have some beautiful writings about Sondiata Keita and them coming down into this land and settling there eventually. But Leah was Muslim. Their tribe were Muslim, and I learned her last name from one of the presidents of Guinea. His wife, he was a president in like 1984 or so, but he had 4 wives. And one of his wives had contacted me. Her name was Mamadi Toure Conti. So he had 4 wives. She was his last wife, his youngest wife. And when I was doing some research, and I had contacted the embassy of Guinea in D.C., and they were, responding to me, because I was asking them about that, and they were like, okay, let's ask, Madam Conte, because they speak French, so there was a language barrier there. But then I got a letter from her, and it was saying that, yes, the children were taken in 1830, and she said, I have some people following the route that they were taken on, and she's the one that told me that they were taken first to Bermuda and then brought to South Carolina and sold on the auction block. Although she did not specifically say how long they were in Bermuda, but Bermuda was for them, Bermuda was the stop where they were seasoned, and they were told that not to say they were from Africa, because it was illegal. So there's no documents stating they were from Africa. When they sold Leah and the children in South Carolina, they were listed as Caribbean slaves. So that was, that was a secret that Leah, whatever they did to her, that was something that she did not speak of until after the Civil War, when she was living in Pennsylvania with my great-grandfather, and and his wife and children, that's when she was saying, I'm from Guinea. I'm from Guinea. My people are from Guinea. The Dutch people came and they took us. They were slavers. They took us on a Dutch ship and kept us, until whatever. I guess until they got supplies or more slaves. And then, and she wanted us. She wanted that story told about where she really was from, because they were telling her, I'm sure, when they were in Bermuda, that they had to say they were from the Caribbean. And a lot of the family thought she was from the Caribbean. Maybe they didn't, I don't know. But my grandmother, my mother's mother, was her granddaughter, and she told my grandmother, who was one of the youngest kids, so she was around her grandmother, and she told her that she was from Guinea, and she was Muslim, and she always had the burqa on, had her head covered, and her shoulders covered. I have, the one picture I have of her, she's in her burqa, and she was, like wanting to go home. That was her greatest wish. And my mother said even after she died, they would find jars full of coins, because she would put the coins in a jar and bury them, because she was trying to save up to go back to Guinea. And I also want to say that there were Creole. They have these people. Like I want to so badly for us to stop saying, oh, these Africans sold each other, because the Atlantic Creoles were made up of Portuguese soldiers who were mixing with the African women. These were men, Portuguese men, on the coast, and mixing with these African women. And those children were raised to sell their people. So they were not other Africans. They were Creoles, and they called them the Atlantic Creole. And they are on an island now called Sao Tome, which is right off of Guinea. There's some Creoles or mixed race people there. One young man I met years ago from there, he said he made it clear he wasn't black. I'm not black. I'm not African. I'm Portuguese. But they're mixed with African and Portuguese. And he was in Virginia, and those people in Virginia let him know, oh yeah, you the same as the rest of these, folks around here. That's who you are. He wanted so badly to not be African. And it's sad. It's sad. It's part of your own, killing your own history and denying your ancestors, and then wanting to be blessed. So what makes you any better than those who enslaved our people, that you can't even claim your ancestors? Anyway, so I wanted to say that about great-great-grandmother Leah and her lineage, and how they were highly cultured. They were literate. She knew that they took her 5 miles down the road. She knew that those were Dutch people. She knew her father was an imam, and she spoke of that. And she knew that she was Muslim, and that's the religion she practiced. She wasn't just Muslim, she practiced it. And she told them when she died, she was 97 years old when she died, when she passed, And they buried her the way that she requested to be buried as a Muslim, even though my great-grandfather, her son, was a Christian. He respected her wishes, and she had the burial that she wanted. And she, when she passed, she finally was reunited with the ancestors. So I honor my ancestor, Leah, Ruth Warner, and the fact that she survived slavery and she was able to live, see her grandchildren, and even though her children had been separated from her, she knew where all of her children were, and she knew that they were safe. And in fact, they would write letters to my great-grandfather, telling, they kept in contact, even though they were separated. So I give honor to this African ancestor. Yes, I'm Afro-Indigenous, and I have Native ancestors. So I'm indigenous to the Americas. But my ancestor, great-great-grandmother Leah, was brought here as a slave, and then her great-great-grandfather Robert Ruth raped her and impregnated her, and I and my siblings and my family are a result of that. So, they will tell us to go back to Africa, but they don't want us to tell the truth about what these Europeans did to our ancestors after enslaving them and abusing them and forcing them to do unspeakable and ungodly things. And for us to sit back and not even speak of them, I think that is just as despicable as what these Europeans did to our ancestors without their consent and against their will. And they don't even want us to say reparations. And to me, it's like it's a bill you owe, and it's coming due. Whether you pay it, you admit what you did, you don't have to pay it, but you're going to pay it. You may not pay us, but brother and sister, y'all going to pay it. You will have no peace until you do that. You live in a debtor nation where you owe, China holds your debt, and every dollar that you print is not even worth the paper it's printed on, because you exist from war to war, going around killing innocent people on their own lands and stealing their resources, and then calling yourself a Christian. And that's the biggest. Calling yourself a Christian is an abomination, because there is no God that's on the light side that is telling you to do the things that you do to human beings. None. And anybody that you can claim that you're a Christian, but all you're doing is putting another nail in your coffin, because you're not Christian. And I can tell you ain't Christian, because if I show you a picture of the Ethiopian Mary and Jesus, baby Jesus, you almost want to go up in flames, because you can't stand the truth. The truth is not in you. And you want to stop everybody else, those of us whose ancestors suffered under this regime since colonization. You don't want us to tell the truth, but we are. We're telling the truth. And long live the memory of my ancestors, of great-great-grandmother Leah, and those who came before and those who came after. I honor them, and I thank you all for tuning in and listening. And please, again, like, subscribe, share, and comment. And I'll see you